Why does kindness feel like a curse? You try to do the right thing. You speak honestly. You treat others the way you wish to be treated. But what do you get in return? Rejection, mockery, exploitation, silence. It's a quiet kind of pain, the kind that makes good people question their very nature. In a world so wired for ego, performance, and manipulation, being kind can feel like walking into battle with no armor. But what if this isn't a flaw in your character? What if it's proof of your strength? Today we're unpacking the brutal but freeing Stoic truth behind why the world seems to punish good people, and why your kindness might just be the greatest act of rebellion in a culture that thrives on cruelty. Make sure to stay till the end. The last 2 chapters will have you questioning everything. Chapter 1. The Masked World. Let's start here. The world you live in is not built to reward goodness. It's built to reward performance. We wear masks. We play roles. We polish our image like a product. We chase likes, status, and external validation, while bearing what's real under layers of social camouflage. Kindness, honesty, and vulnerability. They don't perform well in this kind of world, because here's the bitter truth. Most people don't want truth. They want comfort. And when your kindness enters the room, especially if it's honest and unapologetic, it's like holding up a mirror that reflects what they've been trying to hide. And in a world addicted to denial, the mirror is the enemy. Chapter 2. The Goodness That Threatens. You might have noticed this. When you're fake, people love you. When you're real, people flinch. That's because goodness, real goodness, is confronting. It doesn't flatter the ego, it calls it out, quietly, without words. A kind person with integrity becomes a living reminder of everything others have abandoned. Compassion, patience, stillness, truth. And people don't attack you because you're weak. They attack you because you're strong in a way they no longer understand. Seneca once said, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy." In a world where everyone's chasing a false version of themselves, your stillness, your virtue, exposes that chase. So what can't be matched gets mocked. What can't be controlled gets canceled. And what refuses to kneel gets crucified. Chapter 3. Kindness is power, misunderstood. Kindness isn't niceness. It isn't being agreeable. It isn't passive. Real kindness is controlled fire. It's not loud, but it's unshakable. Stoicism teaches us that virtue is the only good. Not praise, not power, not possessions. Virtue. To remain kind in a cruel world is not naivety. It's resistance. It's choosing to stay intact while everything else crumbles into ego wars. When Epictetus was mocked, beaten, or insulted, he didn't retaliate. Not because he was soft, but because he had mastery. Over his emotions, over his ego, over his need to prove anything. This is the essence of true kindness. Not the desire to be liked, but the refusal to be corrupted. Chapter 4. Why good people suffer. So why do good people suffer the most? Because they feel everything. Not just their own pain, but the pain of others. Deeply, instinctively, sometimes even silently. They're tuned in to suffering like an emotional frequency that others have long stopped hearing. Because they care. In a world where caring has become currency for exploitation. Their hearts remain open when most have sealed theirs shut to survive. Because they speak the truth, not to shame others, but to liberate them. Yet truth, in an age of ego and illusion, is not celebrated. It's punished. These people help even when no one helps them. They give, even when it leaves them empty. They forgive, even when it tears them apart inside. Not because they're weak, but because they refuse to let the world change who they are. They walk into rooms and immediately sense who's hurting. They stay up late worrying about things that don't affect them directly, because their empathy doesn't come with an off switch. But here's the brutal irony. The world is more comfortable with indifference than sincerity. And when you live with an open heart, the world doesn't protect you, it tests you again and again. People lie to you because they think you won't fight back. They take advantage of your softness, assuming it's ignorance. They leave without realizing they're walking away from the very person who would have never abandoned them. But Stoicism teaches us this: virtue is not for applause, it's for the soul. Your suffering is not evidence that you're wrong for being good. It's evidence that you're rare. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. And that being is what tears at your heart sometimes. Because being good in a broken world isn't glamorous. It's not easy. It doesn't win you the loudest applause or the safest path, but it wins something deeper: peace, self-respect, and a life lived without betrayal of your deepest values. You won't be praised for your goodness, but you will sleep at night with a clear conscience. You will know that you did not contribute to the darkness, even when you had every excuse to. Being good doesn't protect you from pain, but it protects you from something worse: bitterness, hatred, the corrosion of your character. And when the world tries to turn you cold, but you stay warm, when it tries to make you numb, but you keep feeling, when it punishes your empathy, but you refuse to stop caring, that's not suffering without meaning. That's proof that you are still human in a machine world. Chapter 5. Kindness is rebellion. Here's what they never tell you. Your kindness is terrifying to a broken system because you can't be manipulated with guilt. You don't need validation from people who wear masks, and you can't be baited into cruelty just to prove you're strong. In a world addicted to ego, your softness is scandalous. In a culture obsessed with dominance, your compassion is radical. You don't play their game, and that makes you dangerous. Kindness, real kindness, is not weakness. It's clarity. It's resistance. It's choosing to keep your soul intact in a system that profits from breaking it. They want you to be numb. They want you distracted, reactive, scared, because then you're easy to steer. But when you operate from virtue, from values, from deliberate kindness, you become unpredictable, uncontrollable. That's power. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that doesn't flinch. Stoicism was never about isolation. It's not hiding in caves or meditating until the world disappears. It's about showing up in the fire, with discipline, with clarity, with courage, and walking through chaos without letting it touch who you are inside. True kindness in this world is rebellion. It's spiritual warfare, not against people, but against the darkness that tries to live inside us. Because when you choose patience over pride, when you offer forgiveness where vengeance is expected, when you stay kind when cruelty would be easier, you're not just surviving, you're defying. You are declaring, I will not become what hurt me. I will not echo the cruelty I was shown. I will not trade my peace for their poison. That is strength. That is stoicism. That is rebellion. So the next time they mock you for being too nice, for being too honest, too forgiving, smile. Because they've just confessed that your light makes them uncomfortable. And if your kindness shakes the ground, then shake it again. Stay kind, stay free. So if you've ever asked yourself, why does it hurt so much to be good? Here's your answer. Because you are awake in a world asleep. Because you are real in a world of illusion. Because you are light in a system built on shadows. The Stoics never promised comfort. They promised clarity. And in that clarity, you'll realize you're not cursed for being kind. You're chosen to lead quietly, to love fearlessly, to remain unshaken. So stand tall. Even if your kindness shakes the ground, even if they try to shame you for it, even if the world calls it weakness, because in the end, virtue wins. Stay kind, stay free, and stay unshaken. If this message stirred something within you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Someone else might be walking the same silent path, waiting for a sign that they're not alone. Stay grounded, stay thoughtful, stay awake. For more deep dives into philosophy, the human experience, and timeless truths, subscribe and turn on the bell. Wander the void with wonder. Question deeply. Think freely. Until next time, embrace the silence and let it speak.